All right, guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Anchor as we get set for the season finale episode. That's the regular season, to be clear, as this is a football team that has worked hard, blood, sweat, and tears all season long. And, Coach, playoffs are upon us, and they are a reality now.
Yeah, they are. That victory last weekend, I think, secured that spot. Now it's, Bryant and opportunity to win a championship, which hasn't been done equally as long. So that's the one we've been out after for 11 years, and let's go get it done.
Now, before we talk about Bryant and championships, we are going to, of course, do the background and quick hitters here. So, there's a couple of things. People always say that they want to have specific capabilities. Now, would you rather have telekinesis, which is the ability to move things with your mind?
Thank you for the definition.
Or telepathy, which is the ability to read minds?
I have to say telekinesis because I really don't want to see what people are thinking of me. But it would be cool, particularly if you could transport yourself. I think that would be cool, but that's probably another tell us something else.
Teleportation, something like that.
Teleportation, yeah, man, all right.
Something
You must be educated.
Something like that. Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life, or the internet for the rest of your life?
The internet. You have to have heating.
Yeah. Unless you're living in Miami.
I can live without the air conditioning, but heating I think is fairly important. I'm not going to try to heat my house with coal burning stove. So yeah, internet, see ya.
All right, there we have it. Internet out the window. Would you rather own an NFL team or the nicest golf course in the country? We've talked about golf before.
Yeah, that's a very tough one to answer. I think this stage of my life, give me the golf course.
Okay.
30 years ago, give me the NFL football team.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, if you could hypothetically own one of those NFL teams 30 years ago, which NFL team would you love to own?
It'd have to be the G-Men. I mean, that's what I grew up with, the Giants. And that would be the team that I would go to 30 years ago and say, yeah, let me own this joker.
I love it. I'm a Giants fan, so I was going to say there's a right answer to this.
Although, Miami Dolphins, living in Miami, not
that
bad.
Would be good.
San Diego Chargers. I mean, there's a lot of there's not a bad spot. I just wouldn't want to own the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're not in on the Bills Mafia.
No, I like the Bills. I just don't like to live up in Buffalo. It's
fair enough. Way too much snow.
Absolutely.
Now, last one for a would you rather. Would you rather get a paper cut every time you turn a page, or would you rather bite your tongue every time you eat?
That's a very easy one because I eat much more than I read and turn pages. So I guess I'd have to take the paper cut every time. That would stink, but it is what it is.
Nah, so I lied. There's a whole other page.
Yeah, I'm big in that.
And we're going to keep on going here.
These are highlights of my week. You don't understand that.
So would you rather be a hunter and a butcherer of your own meat, or never eat meat again?
Hunter and butcher, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son's the Rhody butcher. So put a plug in. Look at Instagram.
There you go.
The Rhody butcher, and my son is doing specialty meat cuts. He's cutting stuff all the time, and he's got a business up and coming. Look it up, Rhody butcher, man. You love it.
You ever been a hunter before?
No. I shot a gun one time. I was a freshman when I was down at Sewanee in Tennessee, never really. I mean, I was a great BB gun, 22 guy camp, all that kind of stuff. But I went down dove hunting with the boys one time and double barrel shotgun, and here come this dove, and so I unloaded the first one, and I came down to follow it on the second one. Boom, and the guy's hair moved. So I figured that is not it. Here's the shotgun. I'm good to go.
He turned it over. Well, maybe you can redeem yourself. May 1st of 2025 is the opening day in Vermont for turkey season. I don't think I've ever had more of an adrenaline rush than a turkey hunt. So if you're ever in Vermont, I'll be out there, and I'll stand behind you if you decide to go bird hunting based on your story. But
yeah. I could see that. But, I'm not big on snakes either. So,
all right.
tromping through the woods, there's good and bad, beautiful, serene, all that stuff. But got to look down all the time looking to see if there's some python ready to get you.
Fair enough. Would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
I gotta breathe like Darth Vader. You can't talk like Yoda. That was a bad
a master you might be.
There you go. Very good. Hey, you've had practice of that, I'm sure, late on some Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
I
gotta pull out the voice impressions.
Yeah, you do. That was pretty good.
Last one, I promise. Yeah. Would you rather only listen to your least favorite song for a year, or only see your least favorite or the most annoying commercial for a year straight?
This has been very dark in where you've leading us with these questions. So I guess I have to listen to my least favorite song, because there's really not one that would just make my skin crawl, but there are plenty of commercials that would. I can't remember one off the top of my head, but there's a couple of them I just can't stand watching.
You ever heard the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat?
No, I don't think I'll look that one up.
Well, I think if you had heard that one, the song goes on for about 35 minutes and literally just states 100 different ways to love a cat.
Well, I think now you piqued my interest. I think I will have to hear that, and I guess you could follow that up with 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. You ever heard that one?
I have not.
Paul Simon.
There we go. I'll have to listen to that one.
Slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't try to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me.
Man, why aren't you on The Voice? What's going on? I think you're in the wrong
bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. I can give it all, man. That was an old school one.
I love it. Well, we might have been a little dark with the questions to start off, but I promise we're going to move into something a little better, and that's a victory on Senior Day. The victory, first and foremost, which we have kind of talked about a couple of times this season. I mean, talk about holding your breath. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to begin here, as a head coach, what's going through your mind pregame, seeing the players you recruited, whether it's out of high school or coming in through the portal, and just being able to cherish that moment with their families?
I mean, it's a special year, a special time every year. It's a special game. It's, incredibly rewarding to see these kids walk out with what they've accomplished. But this year was a little different because, we were playing for more. It wasn't the last home game. It was, let's play to win this game so we can play another one. So there was a different flavor to it, but it's certainly an emotional day. It's good to see the families out there, and those kids worked extremely hard. And I was really pleased that the people came out to pay tribute. There was a good crowd there. It wasn't quite the sellout that we wanted, but I was very appreciative of the support we got from the fans, and Rhody Ruckus and all those guys. They did a nice job and recognized them appropriately. So it was a good day.
Now, you touched on it a little bit there, but what made Saturday's game so special when you think about the potential of getting that, another home game and this time playing for something a little bit bigger?
Well, I think, you look at it was special because it's another game number that we had not been to yet. We got to 8, all right, then we got to now that was number 9, and that was, in my mind, the one that was necessary. 12-game season kind of up my, standard of getting in. I don't know if 8 gets you in this year. Had to have the 9th. And to be able to do that and to be able to look up at that banner we've been looking at for 11 years, which says 84 and 85 last playoff appearance, and know that we're going to be able to put 2024 there was incredibly special. And then you look right next to it to the left, and last championship, same thing. They got about 5 or 6 of them up there, 85 being the last one, and that's what we're after this weekend.
Now, what was your immediate reaction to seeing none other than one of your senior captains, Wesley Neal Jr., seals the game, jumps over the top, and gets that blocked field goal as time expires?
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, because the game, as was not very good in the beginning. It got really good at the end. During the second half on both sides of the ball. And then we were unable to close it out, and the defense kept on stepping up heroically. You talk about senior day. I mean, there was a number of seniors that, made incredibly big plays during that game, none bigger than Wesley's. So when it happened, I'm always preparing one step ahead. All right, this one's going through. We're going to go to overtime. Let's figure out how we're going to beat them there. But there's always that chance when a guy does something special, and to see it being appropriately done by Wes Neal, who's been a absolute dude for us for 4 or 5 years, whatever they've been here for. It was very impressive, and then to watch his reaction, just sprinting down the field with great joy. I mean, really, that's what I do it for. It's good to see that kind of moment and that kind of joy and that kind of excitement, and then we went to the locker room.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. But there's been a trend when you talk about seniors. Let's move to the running back room, because Malik Grant is now the 4th running back in the past 4 years with an 100-plus yard rushing performance on senior day, with Jalen Smith, Marcus DeShields, and Jaden McKenzie. Is this, a predetermined performance going into the season? And just how important has it been to have these running backs that can just really effectively run the ball and take over a game like that?
I think the game still is always built on that principle. You've got to be able to run the ball, and you've got to be able to stop the run. And usually when you're dealing programmatically, if you don't run it well, then chances are you're not going to be great on defense because you don't get enough good practice at it. But it's incredibly important. I've been really pleased with, the way our running game has come along. Still after the goal I'd like to see. I'd love to see Malik get 100, and I'd love to see Dion get 100. And that would be a very cool, thing that we could accomplish, and see if we can get it done this weekend.
Well, that's a perfect way to segment into our next segment here, which is moving forward to looking at Bryant this weekend. How does it feel to not only, having tackled getting over the 7-win hump this season, but now having the opportunity to secure a 10th win of the season and enter the 2024 Rams into the conversation of one of the best Rhody football teams of all time?
Yeah, I told the kids this morning, I said, that 10-win teams and champions, those are remembered for eternity. I've been doing it, 39 years, and, I can remember all of them. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 of them, 10 wins. One up there at Boise State, got to the semifinals, took us that far to get to 10. UCF had a couple of years with 10 plus, and then the 2 at Sacred Heart. So, I mean, I guess that is 5. And it's a very hard goal to reach,
Yeah.
And when you're able to do it here, 11 years coming on into a program that was not in great shape, I think it's very rewarding. But it's the magic number. I mean, the magic number to me is always 6, because that's the winning season,
right?
Out of an 11-game year. But you get to 10, you're doing something special, and that's we worked very hard for that, and now we've got a good opponent that we've got to be able to take down to get number 10. And then move on, and we'll be talking about 11 next week.
Amen to that. Having been through growing pains like Bryant, now back when your tenure here first began, how do you kind of keep your team locked in on the task in front of them, knowing that the Bulldogs, they're out for nothing but to spoil your party?
Yeah, I mean, go back to 2014. We were 0-11 going into the last game, and I couldn't believe that couldn't find a way to win a game somewhere in the first 11. But we ended up stepping up and beating Towson. That was a team that had been to the national championship before. And, the way you motivate kids is because, it is a game. You respect the game. You respect the effort it takes to prepare, and it's meant to be played a certain way. And if you go out and play any less right now, you disrespect the game, and the game is bigger than all of us. For Bryant, they're a 2-9 football team at this point in time. They, have got half of the state championship. They beat Brown, we beat Brown. The victor here gets to brag as a state champion. If I'm in his shoes, I'm, getting my guys cranked up to beat a ranked opponent on the last game of the year, take the state championship, and establish myself in the CAA and in the state of Rhode Island as a competitive football program that's coming after you. And for that reason, I think we're going to have a very motivated group coming, onto their stadium, their senior day. A lot of things that we've got to match the emotion, and we got to go on out. We've got to perform very well and take that game. It's not going to be given to us.
So now, obviously, you guys with a 6-1 record in conference play, knowing that a win secures a share of the CAA title, just what's on your mind going into this Bryant game?
On my mind is what's been on every game we go into. Execution at a high level in all three phases. Play our best game. But the Goblins are, don't get this close and don't come up with what your aim is. It's hard to get here. Now we're here, and you got one game you got to win, and that should be our Super Bowl. And if we can get that done, you're going to have a chance to put rings on people's fingers, and those last in eternity.
You think your team has played the best game of football they're capable of yet this season?
No, I think, again, there are moments, if you put them all together, you're saying, yeah, you can't do much better than that. But, in terms of consistently from start to finish, if you can find things that we can do much better each and every week, but if you can just do it on a consistent basis, we can have fourth quarter performance all the way through in the first, second, third, then I think we've got an opportunity to say that's our best game. But, we win this game, I'll tell you, it's our best game of the year.
Well, there you go. You heard it there. And in terms of which we kind of already talked on, the Bryant URI rivalry, where does this game kind of stand in the grand scheme of Rhody football rivals and maintaining the crown as the kings or state champions, kind of however you want to put that, of the Rhode Island rivalries that you guys have?
I think I think they're separate. And I don't know if they're equal. I think, separate Brown, Rhode Island is, however many years, 108 years or whatever it is that, they've been playing each other. And, the recent Governor's Cup, I think there's history there, and I think that's a meaningful non-conference game. Now you got Bryant who's in the conference. That's a different flavor. They're in our conference. They're investing in football. They've got an indoor facility. They're building facilities. They're going to try to, ramp up their program, and the best way to do that is to be able to beat the in-state rival. So that becomes a real piece that I think is real for me and real for our program. I've been saying it, to anybody who'll listen. I said, hey, Bryant's not sitting back, man. They want to come. They want to knock us out of where we have been, and all indications that they are making the investment to do so. And as that investment's made, that gives me a platform to stand on the table and say we need to continue to make our investment. The governor has done that for us. The president has done that for us, but we still have many things we can look at and get done. I still think tomorrow we got to go out and practice in the pouring rain, probably practice in the rain again on Friday. And if it comes up next week, we'll have to practice in the rain again. Bryant won't. They'll be at their indoor facility. So my mind right now, let's win, let's beat them. We'll go start building that indoor facility out there with my garage doors that go right out to the practice grass. It's just, it's my dream to see.
Well, there we go. Maybe if anyone's watching out there and has some ways to work their magic, you heard the man right here. So I don't know if anybody's got that. I don't, but if you can make it happen, this is a good man to give it to. So
no, but let me jump and just make a mention here. Because there has been such a tremendous support of URI football from a lot of people. Now, obviously, we've done what we need to do to earn that and earn that notoriety and earn the respect. And their love is coming back to us as a result of how we play. But, just happened this week, Marquise Buchanan's, mothers, their house burned down. And, like a lot of people, didn't have a lot of insurance built in. And so they really were starting from zero. And to see the groundswell of support that came from the URI family, URI football, the university, the fans, the people all around. I mean, it's been incredible to see that group rally around one of our own. And it speaks volumes to the kind of school that we have, the kind of family we have, the kind of football program. We're all for each other. And if one gets in trouble, we're going to reach out. And they've done an incredible job of presenting a nice little bit of change to help, Charlotte Buchanan get up back on her feet.
Yeah, now there is, and off of that, there is a GoFundMe page out there. And if anyone, this is on Rhode Island's social media. So if you guys are looking for that on Barstool Rhody, I know it's there. It's on Twitter. It's on the football pages as well. So if anybody has any contribution that helps, please make sure that you just donate even anything. They are certainly trying to, as you mentioned, just get back on their feet. And right now, ground zero is where they are. But with help of everyone like you guys at home, we can get them back to a safe and healthy spot. So well wishes to that entire family as we move forward there. But, earlier this week, you commented in a press conference wanting a trophy for the winner of the URI Brown, Bryant, and, Rhode Island annual round robin to kind of crown your king, so to say. If you could design the trophy that would kind of come tuition to be, what would that kind of look like in your mind?
I guess you could pull that little doorstop. It would be a big ram head.
All right,
that'll be the ram head trophy. I mean, that wouldn't go over, and I'm not proponent of, I'm not sitting there saying I want a trophy. That was a conversation that came out. Do I think it's appropriate for one? Sure. I mean, I think those things are cool. Played in the Akron Kent State game. It was called the wagon wheel. It was the wheel that some old wagon had that went back and forth 7 miles between the two schools, fell off, and then they play for it. There's those kinds of things. Now, you have a state championship trophy. Yeah, I don't know how I'd design it, but let's make it a ram head. I'm good.
There we go.
I don't know if Brown and Bryant would agree to that one. I'm sure you come up with something. Why don't you make that a challenge or something out? You go ahead and put it out there and see who wants to design something like that, and we'll build it.
Yeah, well, maybe if you guys, once again, to everyone at home, if you have ideas about what that could look like, send us a text, a DM, anything, and we'll see what we can potentially do. We always love for your suggestions back at home. So, but before we get to our closing points, kind of if you had to pull out two things that you're most, looking for this team to accomplish on Saturday in order to get to that shared title, and just also, as we've mentioned a couple of times, and hey, now that it's close to reality, I'm going to say it again, that remote golf cart, man, it is in the near future potential.
Rhody Butcher,
man, Rhody Butcher, if you're watching, you might owe Pops a nice new rig if this comes to see. So
yeah, we're looking. Yeah, I forgot about that piece. Jimmy, watch out, man. That's pretty good. What am I looking for this weekend? I want to see us play clean. On the offensive side, I don't want to see self-inflicted wounds that we've had that continue to step up at bad times for us. Don't turn the ball over. And, let's get a good balanced attack between running and throwing and let our backs do what they can do. And Hunter and the boys out wide can do everything else. Defensively, I want to see us tighten up on third down. I want to make sure we can get off the field. We struggled a little bit last week in the first half, third and long, third and extra long. I want to make sure our pass coverage is tighter and let our boys up front, get after the quarterback. So, it's almost the same answer every week. I want to see, 3 phases of clean football, execute in the way we coach it and done with great passion and emotion and most of all, cinched up pads that are ready to go ahead and inflict damage when they get to somebody else's jersey and be the most physical team on the field.
Well, there you have it, and we will certainly look for all of that this weekend.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Anchor. I'm Grace Siorek, and today we would like to welcome special guest, running backs coach, Coach Luke Jenkins. Coach, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Big game coming up this weekend. How are you feeling about it?
Great. Phenomenal. Great opportunity for us to go finish the regular season on a positive note and bring home a conference championship. So.
Nice. And now we're going to get into a couple of questions. So first, kind of tell the audience what got you into coaching and how did you start your coaching career?
Yeah, so both my parents played sports in college. My mom played soccer at Ohio State. My dad played football there. That's where they met. So I got 3 younger siblings. So very, competitive family, big sports-oriented family. So that was just kind of the deal growing up. This is really the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I was probably 4 years old. Those are some of my earliest memories, sitting on the front lawn and my dad teaching me how to throw and catch a football, and kind of just grew up and knew this is what I wanted to do long term, and thankful enough to be living a dream currently. So.
And you've been coaching for a couple of years now and have seen the different levels of football, such as the Ivy Leagues with Harvard to the FBS with Cincinnati. How has kind of all of those coaching careers helped you come to the CAA and coach at the FCS level with the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, it's all been a really positive experience. You kind of take the good from each place and what you like from certain spots and take it on to the next one, and what you don't, you kind of leave behind. But, Cincinnati, that's where I got my start, and that was amazing. We were extremely successful there, so it was great to be a small part of that and see what a very successful organization is supposed to look like on a day-to-day basis. So I think that was huge. A lot of the things that we were doing when I was back there is similar to what we're doing here, and it makes sense. We're very successful this season, so preaching the same message, kind of have like the same core values and what we want to stand for on and off the field. So it's kind of one and the same. But I think, like I said, you take a little bit from each place and try to grow and continue to get better as a coach. And yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the experience with Cincinnati and it being such a high caliber team and in that college playoff atmosphere, and how it's comparing to now with the potential of going into the FCS playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Like I said, with this year they have the 12-team playoff now, so a little bit different change-up. But at the time, to be the first and really the only, now that the 4-team playoffs coming to an end, the only Group of 5 team to make it. I mean, it was incredible. We knew just based off strength of schedule we had out of conference that season that it was going to be a big year. We had a good season in 2020. Had a lot of guys come back because they knew the potential we would have in 2021 if we went undefeated. That's what we did, and went to Notre Dame, got a big-time win at their place, had a win at Indiana's place. So it was kind of building that whole year, and we knew just take it 1 week at a time, try to go 1-0 each week and let it, see where it shakes out at the end. Fortunate enough to go to the playoff, and that was amazing. And play Alabama, I mean, that was just an experience I'll never forget. But, it's kind of a similar deal. We'll have the watch party on Sunday and see where we fall and see who we get to play going forward. But it's just, it was great. I'm very fortunate for the experience.
And with coaching at all of the previous places that you mentioned and recently coming to Rhode Island, what was kind of the draw to Coach Fleming's staff as a whole that intrigued you to now end up here? Yeah,
that's a great question. I mean, I worked with a guy at Harvard by the name of Keegan Kennedy. He was our O-line coach there. And before he went to Harvard, he was here. He's very close with Coach Fleming and Coach Flan. So reached out to him when I knew there was an opportunity here, kind of wanted to see what the lay of the land would be. Like, hey, do you think I would be a good fit there? What's that staff like? Tell me about it a little bit. He had nothing but great things to say, and he was telling the truth the whole way. I mean, I got here in May and thoroughly enjoyed my experience so far. I absolutely love coming into work every day, and I know I'm young and haven't been in the business that long, but that's a very rare thing, and just love being around the guys that I get to be around on a day-to-day basis and work with these guys. I mean, it's incredible. You get challenged each day to be better, and again, very thankful for that as well. So that was the big draw. I knew just all the great things I heard about Coach Flem and Coach Flan, and getting in the interview and kind of seeing how Coach Flem operated a little bit. I was like, man, I would love to work for this guy. Just, always talk about whenever I have interviews, want to be around great people first and great coaches second. And that's definitely how it worked out here. I mean, Coach Flem, he's the man. I absolutely love working for that guy.
Definitely coming into summer, you should definitely find your people and kind of enjoy coming to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every day. And now going back to, again, you've worked at a few other schools. You've worked with a few other positions as well. You've spent time with quarterbacks, with run game coordination and offensive quality control as a whole. How did those roles translate into your current role now as coaching running backs?
Yeah, well, when I was at Cincinnati, that's kind of what I got my start in. Our running back coach in 2019 is a guy by the name of Doug Phillips. He's now the head coach at Youngstown State. So learned a lot from him. Got a new running back coach at Cincinnati in 2020, and Dan Enos. He's now at Florida as an analyst. But those guys are phenomenal. I mean, they treated me great. Got to be a big part of what they were doing on a day-to-day basis. So learned the ins and outs of coaching running backs and what's that supposed to look like in the standard, and simple things from a good indie drill during practice to how a meeting should look, and kind of all the above, what you're doing in recruiting and what you're looking for in certain guys. And but to talk about some of the roles I had since then, kind of the same idea. You take certain things you learn from working with other positions, like whether it's quarterbacks, I've worked with receivers, you name it, and you kind of take little things, and a lot of that stuff's big on like the standard of, hey, when I was with the quarterbacks at Harvard, this is what we would preach on a day in and day out basis. So if you like that, bring it here to Rhody. So I preach the same message to my guys every day.
And in the running back position as a whole, you've had the opportunity of coaching a really great group of players with some veteran leaders such as Malik Grant and Gabe Sloat, and in addition to the younger guys such as Jaden Griffin and Carson Hartwood. What has the experience been like in the opportunity of coaching such a high caliber of players?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. I'm very thankful to be around those guys every day. I tell them all the time, just how appreciative I am of them and the work they put in and getting to be around them. I mean, I was telling them the other day, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, just being able to be around those guys so much while on the practice field and meetings. I mean, it's a joy. Again, I'm not that much older than those guys, so I think it's pretty easy to get along with, and just kind of not in the exact same stage of life, but where they are now. I wasn't there too long ago, so a lot of similarities. You kind of can relate to them a little bit better with certain things. But I mean, to touch on the seniors, those guys are great. Those three guys are amazing. With Dion, Sloat, and Malik, very thankful for those guys, the way they've handled themselves all season. Since I got here, throughout training camp, they've done a really good job. And really all six of those guys, they're all on top of their stuff, and they do a great job of handling their business. Not really too many knuckleheads in the room, nobody I have to really work or check on, and really make sure they're on top of their stuff. They do a good job with that. But yeah, I think just there's a lot of big personalities in the room. They all bring a little something different to the table in terms of on the field and just personality-wise in the meeting room. But again, they're great. I mean, I like to keep it pretty loose and not be too tight about things, and just make sure the same way I feel about coming into work. I want them to have that same experience coming in every day. I want them to be happy that they're coming into the meeting rooms and excited to be better at football the next day than they were the previous, and continue to want to get better, and have great energy on the practice field, and just be positive throughout the whole situation. So, I mean, I love being around those guys. I'm very, very fortunate.
And my final question is, with the regular season coming to an end this weekend at Bryant, and hopefully winning and then being able to share that CAA conference title, what have you been kind of telling your players this week and motivating them in order to have a successful game on Saturday? And with the result of that, if they win, their playoff position.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, ever since New Hampshire, really, we've kind of viewed it as, a playoff tournament top to bottom. So that's kind of what I've been preaching to guys, but especially the past couple weeks, just talking to them about, hey, when I was in school and I was working with Cincinnati for 3 years, we went to 3 straight conference championships. Like, I had back-to-back rings. Like, I have that. It was a phenomenal feeling. I told them yesterday I would love nothing more for each of them, myself included, to have a Keeney blue ring with a URI symbol on it. We got another guy in the room that, in Malik, he's won a couple conference championships in college. Like, he knows what that feels like, and he echoed what I had to say. He talks about how amazing it is, and Dion's got a bowl ring from a win they had when he was at Iowa State. So they kind of get it, and they know what's at stake. They know what's on the line, and they know that that's going to stick with them forever. They know that they'll have that ring forever. That's be something they'll be able to tell their kids and their grandkids, and 20 years down the road when they come back to Rhody, there'll be something hanging in the stadium that they can say, hey, I was a part of that. So.
And hopefully we can get that win on Saturday. And Coach,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for saying that and talking to me today.
And, we just want to thank you all. Of course, this is certainly not the end by any means. We will be keeping up with all of Rhody football. We will be continuing to see how the playoff picture unfolds. But for this episode, for now, that is all we have for you. Once again, Noah McLane alongside with Coach Jim Fleming. Thank you, Coach, as always.
I appreciate it.
And a big shout out also to the running backs coach, Luke Jenkins, for sitting down with us this week. We really appreciate all that you did as well. And, well, hey, this Saturday doesn't get any better. And an away game that is just across the town. So if you guys are thinking about going down to Bryant, I'd say go ahead and get that ticket and make it a weekend plan, because it's going to be a good one. So we'll see what happens. But for now, another episode has come and gone on Behind the Anchor.